Free agency has been off to a wild start, and the Dallas Mavericks have been making moves. We saw the other day that we traded Tim Hardaway Jr., and we got back Quentin Grimes. Even though we couldn't bring back Derrick Jones Jr., we did sign Najee Marshall. And just yesterday, we completed a sign and trade in a 3-team deal, getting Klay Thompson, sending Josh Green to the Charlotte Hornets, and the Charlotte Hornets sending 2 second-round picks to the Golden State Warriors. But we still have one roster spot open and about $4 million to spend, and Luka Doncic may be alluding at a player that he wants the Mavericks to go after. So in this video, we're going to break down all the reports, see who this mystery player may be, and see if he's a good fit for the Dallas Mavericks. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started this video, I just want to thank you guys so much for smashing that like button in the last few videos. I challenge you all to get this video to 800 likes. I think we can do it. We get well over 800 views, so 800 likes shouldn't be a problem. Let's get it done. But like I said, the Dallas Mavericks have been making moves, and the trade for Klay Thompson yesterday has been finalized. The full trade details are: we get Klay Thompson, the Hornets get Josh Green, and the Warriors get 2 second-round picks that I want to say did come from us. I think one came from us and one came from the Hornets, which is totally fine. And when you look at the grand scope of things, the Dallas Mavericks have been making moves. We got rid of Tim Hardaway Jr., we got Najee Marshall, we traded for Klay Thompson without using a single first-round pick. We still have our first-round picks that we had when the season ended, and we're still into free agency. We still have a few days, but we still haven't used any of our first-round picks. Nico Harrison is a genius. But, like I said in the intro, we still have one roster slot open. We still have about $4 million to spend. And there's a list of players that we could potentially go after. And the Mavs blog tweeted out saying, I think the Mavericks could target a backup ball handler or a reserve wing with the remaining $4.4 million of the mid-level exception. And the players that are remaining that we could go after are Dennis Smith Jr., Spencer Dinwiddie, Markelle Fultz, Lonnie Walker, Taurean Prince, Kyle Anderson, Sadiq Bey, Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks, Robert Covington, Chris Dunn, and Gary Harris. And from this list of players, as a backup ball handler, I mean, a lot of us know that Dante Exum will be most likely stay on the roster for the next season, but will he still be that third ball handler? Will it be Jaden Hardy? Or maybe we can find someone else to split those duties so we can potentially have 4 ball handlers, or we find a third one to replace the ones that we currently have. And from this list, I mean, I'm a fan of Sadiq Bey. I think that he would fit this team very well. Some people may want a reunion with Reggie Bullock. I think Robert Covington would definitely add great defense to this team. But one player on this list that definitely stands out is Dennis Smith Jr. And if you follow me on Twitter, you would have saw that I tweeted this out yesterday, shortly after the whole sign and trade with Klay Thompson, saying, I heard Nico's not done. Now, you got to trust me and trust that I do have sources. There are a few people that I do speak to within the Mavericks community, or I'm sorry, within the Mavericks organization. So I did hear some rumblings that Nico isn't done. I didn't have any official names or reports of what they're planning to do, but I did hear that Nico still isn't done. He's still fielding calls. He's still trying to see where we can move certain players, who we can acquire in free agency. And we saw this report come out just this morning, saying McMahon says his understanding is that Luka Doncic is pretty ecstatic about the Klay Thompson addition. He also says he threw out Dennis Smith Jr.'s name as an addition to the roster to someone in the organization, and it didn't get shot down. So we saw Kyrie having a strong influence and actually going and meeting Klay Thompson and convincing him to agree to a sign and trade to come to Dallas. Don't go to LA where you were born. Don't go to LA where you grew up a fan of the Lakers, where your father won a championship. Come to Dallas. Kyrie Irving is working his magic, but that doesn't mean Luka's not working magic too. And the fact that Luka Doncic, shout out to Luka for just throwing out Dennis Smith Jr.'s name as a player that obviously for some time we could agree that Luka Doncic has probably been thinking about pairing back up with Dennis Smith Jr., thinking, man, he was great for us when he was here. Maybe Rick Carlisle didn't know how to use him, but I think that he'd work a lot better in Jason Kidd's whole situation. The whole system would work better for him. And the fact that someone in the organization didn't shoot it down, meaning it could potentially happen. But let's take a look at Dennis Smith Jr.'s stats, see if he fits with the Dallas Mavericks. For last season, his stats are nothing to really just jump out and just say, yes, this is our guy. I think there's a deeper dive that needs to be done for Dennis Smith Jr. and why he fits with the Mavericks. But just looking at his stats over last season, he averaged 6.6 points, 2.9 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 0.2 blocks, 1.2 steals, 1.2 turnovers, and 2.2 fouls per game, shooting 43% from the floor and 29% from 3. I think we can all agree that Dennis Smith Jr. was never really that great of a three-point shooter. Definitely a smaller guard who can attack the basket and is a very good ball handler and facilitator. He shoots 34% on corner threes, 87% of his threes are assisted, and 32% of all shots are threes. So obviously those three little categories are low: the corner threes, the assisted threes, and only a third of his shots are threes. Obviously that's low because he's not going to be shooting the three ball. He's not that great of a three-point shooter. However, Dennis Smith Jr. is a player who obviously is familiar with Luka Doncic. He's familiar with the Dallas Mavericks. We drafted him. He was 5th in Rookie of the Year. And I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely a big fan of Dennis Smith Jr. I thought that he was someone that we could pair with Luka and just long term, those two guys go at it. Obviously, we had Jalen Brunson. So, like, okay, cool, Jalen Brunson, but things just didn't work out. Dennis Smith Jr. got traded around. He's been somewhat of a journeyman and never really was given that shot to just flourish and show a team what he has to offer. But in the Dallas Mavericks system, where we have Dante Exum as a third ball handler, who we saw flashes of greatness. I mean, you can argue that there were at least 2 games this season that were saved because of Dante hitting just clutch threes and just those clutch moments overall as a Dallas Maverick. But if we have one roster slot open, if we have $4.4 million to spend, why not go after somebody that Luka Doncic wants, that's familiar with the team already, and would, again, it's the 15th man, whether you play him or not, that's someone that is serviceable, and that would help the Dallas Mavericks. And I already know there's a lot of people that are going to put under the comment section that Dennis Smith Jr. is washed, he's not good, why would we want to bring someone like him? There's better options, and I would agree, yes. There may be better options, but let me argue why Dennis Smith Jr. would absolutely flourish in this Dallas Mavericks system. And all I got to do real quick is show you his stats. Nothing really to jump at. As we see in Dallas, he averaged 15 points in his rookie year, was 5th in the Rookie of the Year race, was fantastic. And then he was traded to the New York Knicks. And in the Knicks, he was just relegated to the end of the bench, racked up a bunch of DNPs. His first season with the Knicks, he only played 21 games. The next season was only 34 games. Then he got traded to the Detroit Pistons, only played 20 games there. Then he got traded, he signed with the Portland Trailblazers. Then he went to Charlotte. Now he's in Brooklyn. So obviously he's been a journeyman, going all over the place, not really finding a home, not really finding a team where he can actually help them and contribute to winning basketball. But why am I showing you this? Why does this matter? Why is this the perfect reason as to why he could fit with the Dallas Mavericks? Simple. I'll show you this. Here are some other stats of a player that I will name in a little bit. But if we take a look, this player who was drafted by Phoenix, was traded to Miami, played there for a few years, who then played for Portland, who then played for Chicago, and then just recently played for the Dallas Mavericks. And if you squint your eyes and look real quick, his last year with us, with the Dallas Mavericks, was his best year out of his entire career, where he averaged the most points and shot the most, or he shot the best from the 3-point line. And these stats belong to none other than Derrick Jones Jr., Flight 55, who we just lost in free agency to the Los Angeles Clippers. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if someone who is a journeyman, someone whose stats were really nothing to just be happy about, nothing that makes you excited, nothing that really just flashes out at you, who really is just a role player but can't really find a home, what do we see happen last season? We saw Derrick Jones Jr. revitalize his career, and it's something that I want to call the Luka Doncic effect, where Luka gets these guys paid. People play very well next to Luka Doncic and in the Dallas Mavericks system, and this is a fact. We've seen it with not just Derrick Jones Jr., we saw it with Jalen Brunson. Shout out to Jalen Brunson. I'm very happy for him in New York. I wish him nothing but the best. But we've seen this with many players who, when they play very well with Luka in the Mavericks, it doesn't really get replicated anywhere else except for Jalen Brunson. I understand he's doing phenomenal in New York, but let's take a look at Spencer Dinwiddie, who played arguably his best basketball in Dallas, and then he goes to Brooklyn where nothing happens. He goes to LA where nothing happens, where I'm pretty sure he wishes he was back in Dallas. But if Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks organization as a whole could revitalize Derrick Jones Jr.'s career and help him get 3 years, $30 million with the Los Angeles Clippers, imagine what we can do with someone like Derrick Jones Jr., someone that Luka actually wants on this team. I'm not sure what capacity it would be, as he would be filling up our last roster spot. Would he actually see minutes? Would he get play over Dante Exum or over Jaden Hardy as our third ball handler? I don't know. That's something that Jason Kidd has to figure out. But if Luka Doncic wants it, we should want it too. And I think it would be just an amazing reunion, just icing on the cake of our fairy tale story of the Dallas Mavericks fighting for a championship. And in the free agency before that season where we won, we went out and brought back Dennis Smith Jr. so he could win with Luka and the rest of the guys. But all in all, the Dallas Mavericks have been making all the right moves. And like I said, it's nothing short than thanks to Nico Harrison. And something that we just want to put into perspective is that Nico Harrison really replaced Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green, and Derrick Jones Jr. with Quentin Grimes, Najee Marshall, and Klay Thompson, all without giving up a first-round pick and staying under the first apron. Nico continues to prove why he's one of the best executives in the NBA, and that has to go without saying. If Nico Harrison doesn't win Executive of the Year next year, it's rigged, and the award just has no validity to it, and it shouldn't matter. Because how do you make all these moves? You don't use a single first-round pick. You're able to stay under the first apron. We just got a Hall of Famer and NBA champion, four-time champion in Klay Thompson without giving up any of our first-round picks, and we are nowhere near the hard cap. Nico Harrison is a genius. He's a madman, and it's only up from here for the Dallas Mavericks, and a championship is right around the corner. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for making this far into the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. Consider becoming a channel member. We are doing another giveaway. We will do a live stream this Saturday or this Sunday. I'll let you guys know before we actually do it to just announce the giveaway, announce who's our winner, as well as talk about some other things. But until next time, y'all take care. Drink water. Peace.